Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome your faces back to another video. It's gonna be a super, probably short one, a little quick one. I'm just gonna be showing you guys like my favorite places to farm ore resources in the game. As far as like plastanium and stravidium, that's always going to be changing every single week. So if you are interested, feel free to drop by the stream and kind of ask questions, because there is a map that we do get from our guild. So if you need those locations, feel free to drop by. I'm more than happy to give them to you. If not, I'm sure there's websites that are doing the same. But yeah, if you guys learn anything or find any of these useful, feel free to hit the like button, leave a comment down below, maybe even subscribe if you think I deserve it. But without wasting too much more of your time, we're just gonna get right into it. So as you can see up here, this is I guess my rough draft. I kind of suck at drawing, so please don't judge me too much, but I chose this area because it's got a little bit of everything. It's kind of centralized in the map. If you do want to go other places, I guess for specific resources, there's obviously way better places to go, but for me, this is super central. It's a little easier for me to kind of just come in real quick. I could go any which direction and just kind of get whatever I want, whether that's aluminum, basalt, steel, freaking cobalt. Well, actually, it's the same thing. And then there's also the Erythrite farm, which isn't too far. I think it's like another 2,000 or 3,000 meters from my base just to go and mine that in the Haga. Was it the Haga Rift? The yellow section on the top left, I know I've labeled it copper root. You could honestly find copper everywhere. It's a little blue nodes. I'm sure you guys, if you're watching this, you already know what it is. But for late game, or mid to late game, I feel like this area, just because of how centralized it is, really good for just the resources that are available. So with that being said, we are going to be moving on to picture 2. This is basically just the 2 routes that I use for aluminum and basalt. As you can see, route 1, it's probably my most favorite just because it's the closest to my base. However, sometimes after the Coriolis storm, the nodes aren't too lucrative, so I do tend to have to do route 2, and that's only because that one tends to be more lucrative on the reset. However, there are other locations you can farm. Also, one thing that I did start doing is I would, like in the middle of it, you can kind of see it, you probably can't because my cursor is not picking up on OBS, but cutting through Pinnacle Station and going down into the Haga Rift to get Erythrite, in that area, you do have to drive kind of a bit. It's a bit of a far, it's a bit of a far journey, especially for like what you're going after for the cobalt paste, but having a base, which I'll show you guys like on the next, or actually here, I'll switch it right now. On this picture, we have a base kind of centralized in the Haga Rift, and this is the route that I usually run. There are 2 mine shafts that you could go in and hit. I think I could put gameplay up in the background for that. But the problem with those is you have to hand mine them, and they are kind of time consuming. So what could be like, less than a 10-minute trip or 5-minute trip is going to turn into like a maybe 15-20 minutes depending on how quick you are. However, if your goal is to get as much as possible and fill up the buggy, highly recommend jumping out and grabbing those. But if you just need a little bit, hit this route, grab every single one you see along the way with the cut array. Pretty sure you're gonna walk out with about 3,500, maybe 4K in Erythrite crystals. At least that's what I've gotten. I think the least amount that I've ever gotten was like 2,700, maybe 3K. But for the most part, it's always just under 4, or the most I've seen is like 5. So not too bad. But this is just, like I said, these are the places that I personally like to farm. Everyone's gonna have their own strats, their own places that they like to go. So moving on to Jasminum, as you guys can see, I have another little racetrack that I like to do. For the most part, I kind of ignore the bigger islands. There is an island right here. I will circle it in yellow along this like little red path. But this island in particular, I always make sure I go there first, just because it has the most dense of like a cluster. I believe I've seen like maybe 9 of the Jasminum crystals, and every time I prioritize that one, whether I go in from the top or the bottom, I'm filling up the buggy before I even finish the route. So I definitely have to go back out at least twice a run. And that's with the bigger buggy boot and the Mark 5 cut array currently, because we are on that grind to get that Mark 6 stuff. But yeah, I mean, super simple route, especially considering where our base is. You guys are more than welcome to kind of set your base up anywhere within the vicinity. This route's super approachable, especially because it is a circle. Just kind of pick an island. But we have ours based off to the west side, and that's just because strategically we're right outside the radiation zone, and it's right there on the world map, or right next to the world map. So it's just super quick to fast travel and get in and get out. So amazing little fob that the guild has made. But yeah, but for me personally, this is what I do. So like I said, super quick, super simple. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm definitely gonna be posting some more stuff. My next video, I'm gonna be talking about like the tier 5 and tier 6 uniques, especially the routes that I've been farming personally. So if any of you guys are getting into that late to end game stage, you know, make sure to hit that notification bell so you guys will be able to, you know, be notified when that goes up. And if there's anything that you guys would like to see me cover, whether that's like earlier stuff in the game, or I guess just overall tips or anything you would like to see at all, just let me know. Leave a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to make a video on it. And if there's anything I missed, if you got a better route, by all means hit me up, and I'll be sure to do it.